Town. Barbara won the competition between us this morning with the weather. Weatherman, 15 degrees, didn't stand a chance. I said 20, didn't expect it to get up to 26, to be honest with you. It is July the 11th. Yes, it's Tuesday, and, well, let me do this.
Galaxy 107 FM.
That's right, you're right, here at Galaxy 107 FM, and today, believe me, I've been looking forward to this because I'm catching up with a very, very good friend of mine, and gosh, we must have known each other, what, about 30 years, to be honest. Let's go way back to Area 51, and we had a little something to do with 6 Foot Sativa, if I remember right, and The Rock back in the day. I'm talking about a good friend of mine. Yes, Andrew Featherstone is joining us from the band The After. He's in Manila right now, so let's kick it off and go back about a year, and, well, it doesn't matter. Yes, here's The After, right here at Galaxy. You know, I was thinking the other day, Jesus, it's been a long time since we've known each other.
Like you say, it's like 30, must be 30 years now.
Yeah, it'd be about
our age now, aren't we?
well, one of us is. I don't know about you. You look timeless. You look like the day I met you.
Yeah.
You look like the day I met you. You haven't grown up at all. You still look the same.
Well, you know, it's rock and roll, mate. It's an excuse to act like a teenager forever, isn't it?
Well, this is what
expected of me.
Exactly. Well, this is what radio does to you, bro. It really does. Oh my gosh, good. It really is good to see. A lot of light coming from behind you. Are you okay with that?
I can. Is it better if I go like that?
Yeah. That's a lot better. Absolutely.
Is it the window, eh?
Yeah. Unfortunately, ambient light sort of makes you glow and can't quite see your features. Oh God, you got a pair of things like I do.
Reflectors.
You got windscreens like me, bro.
Yeah, $2 shop.
Oh,
I keep
okay.
losing them, breaking them, so I just given up on the fancy ones.
Okay. Well, believe me, my optometrist would be horrified. Mine are worth a few hundred.
Yeah.
And
Me too.
They look like they've been bought out of the $2 shop, I've got to be honest. Jason Alfonso is watching. Nice to have you on board, Jason. Michael Zanderwicks, I think it is. And Nick Plews is watching from the Heartland Roots Band coming out of Leicester in the UK. Nice to have you on board, Nick. Say his name and he will appear. We did that this morning.
Have you any new music, Luann?
Luann's joining us. Yeah, nice to have you on board, Luann. It really, really is. Don Pierce is watching.
Oh, Z, you're watching. And Dwayne Watson.
Hello, Dwayne.
Hello, Dwayne. Nice to have you on board.
So,
Z, I'm looking
Z,
forward to
welcome,
meeting you.
Z, welcome to the Madhouse. See you with the next interview.
Yeah, believe me, it's going to be fun to catch up with you and with Ronnie, the husband, coming from the band Chasing Phoenix out of what I think is the new mecca of music is North Carolina. Believe me, we have so many artists coming out of North Carolina. It is fantastic. Dwayne Watson, brother man, it's been a while. Looking forward to catching up with you. Got any new music, bro? Would love to have some. Today we're talking, of course, to a very, very good friend of mine, Andrew Featherstone, coming out of Auckland, but today he's in Manila with the band, of course, The After, and fantastic music. I love The After. I love their style of music, I really do. And Andrew just confirmed to me he's got the best lineup in the band ever. So I'm excited about this, I really am. Andrew, it really is a pleasure to have you back, my bro.
Well, thank you, mate. Nice to see you again.
Yeah,
We
well,
only ever catch up like once a year on air, don't we?
yes.
We'll have to have a beer sometime.
Well, it has been a long time between drinks. I think the last time we caught up was
Everclear.
Everclear.
Yes.
Yeah, at the power station, if I remember
In
right.
person, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I reckon you deserve to buy me a beer.
I do.
I love that, I do. Let's go live, brother man. That's right, you're right. Here at Galaxy 107 FM, and today, believe me, I'm very, very excited to catch up with my very, very good friend Andrew Featherstone from the band The After, currently coming out of Manila. What are you doing in Manila?
Well, it's not winter here.
What's the temp over there?
It's around 30 degrees. It's like 28 to 33. It's basically hot all year round here. They don't really have a winter. It's just hot or hotter.
Yep.
So I was here with the band. The Asia tour was the second half of April. We were in Japan, which was such a treat. We just loved it there. And then we came here in the Philippines for 7 days. Then we were in Hong Kong and Singapore. After the tour finished, Diego, our video maker, and myself came back to Manila to edit the video, which was like 3 weeks of, huge amount of hours. So we had thousands of hours of footage, so we had to chop it all down to 3.5 minutes. So that took us about, best part of 3 weeks. And then I was supposed to stay for another couple of weeks and come home, but I'm like cringing seeing all the weather in New Zealand, and I was having a good time here, and I own an apartment, so I got no rent, so I extended my trip for another month, and then I went to Singapore and KL, met with the Universal teams in Kuala Lumpur, and a few things going on in that part of the world, and then I came back to Manila, and then the night before I was supposed to come back a couple of weeks ago, I'm like, no, I just can't do it. So I extended for another month, but I can't. That has to be the end because the day I get back, I have to run Battle of the Bands that same night. So I've extended as far as I can go now.
Now, let me just cover this very, very quickly. Smoke-free Battle of the Bands. You've been doing this for what, about forever? Ever since I've known you.
Smoke-free. That's a smoke-free rock quest for the high school kids, but Battle of the Bands National Championship. Yeah, it's year 28 now.
Absolutely fantastic. It's been, ever since I've known you, I think I've known you a couple of years, and then we got into it and watched you just go from strength to strength to strength with that. And believe me, I'm a big fan of what you do with that. I really, really am, because so many bands over the years have gone on to do better things in New Zealand and then out of New Zealand, all caused by you, my bro.
Well, it's a helping hand, they've still got to have the goods and be motivated, but it's enjoyable, and I enjoy doing it. Like, it's a treat to see all these up-and-coming bands, and sometimes you see the same ones back, and they've got, they've developed further and further each time, and it's a pleasure to try and help them, and I have a good time. I get to travel around the country and drink beer and watch cool bands. It's fun, and I've got some amazing sponsors and prizes. So I've got a Martin PA system to give away this year, which is Martin's like the best PA gear in the world. It's like Glastonbury's PA system. I met the Asia Pacific head of Martin in Kuala Lumpur. And Jansen, my long-term sponsor in New Zealand, right, the legendary New Zealand brand, they're the New Zealand distributors of Martin. And I've had a Allen and Heath mixing desk to give away for quite a few years now, but we're talking with Simon at Jansen, and it's like, man, wouldn't it be awesome if we could actually give away a whole PA system? And then he said, oh, look, the guy in charge of this is David. He's in Singapore. So touch base with him. Turns out he's based partially in Singapore and partially in Kuala Lumpur. So the day I was in Singapore, I was trying to meet with him, and he goes, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm out of town. I'm in KL. I'm like, oh, I'm going to KL tomorrow. So we got to meet up, and so I'm really chuffed about that. And you probably know all my stuff is mixed and co-produced with Steve James, legendary New Zealand British producer that's based in Australia. So I've got the Lab Recording Studios in Auckland, another legendary studio that with Ollie engineering it, who's award-winning engineer producer, and then the winning band gets to record at the Lab, and Steve James mixes it in Australia. So, and I've just got a new prize now too, a music video. This guy David from South Island Media really good filmmaker. We crossed paths, we touched base about 3 weeks ago. He was keen to get involved, and I've got Juice TV as my media partner, so we've now got a music video prize for the winner and guaranteed airplay on Juice TV. So I've kind of got the whole package now for the band, so I'm really chuffed about that, because that was kind of like the missing piece of the puzzle.
Well, you don't have the whole package just yet, because I'm going to throw something at you. How would you like a little bit of free promotion of the winning artist here on Galaxy as well?
Oh man, that would be awesome. Thank you so much.
We would love...
There we go. Finished package now.
There it is. You get international play here on Galaxy. We would love to be able to be a part of it just for you, my friend. We really, really would.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Steve James, by the way, he did the Sex Pistols, if I remember right.
Yeah, we did a couple of tracks of them. I think it was Something Else on the Great Rock and Roll Swindle. Maybe, I think there might be a couple of songs.
Yeah.
And, Thin Lizzy, Shirley Bassey, Paul Young, Teletubbies, just so many. A lot of Kiwis will know his work from the Wetter album, Geographica.
Yeah.
He was the man behind that. And Screaming Jets, he's done most of the Screaming Jets records, including the old one with the big hit Better back in the day, but all their recent stuff. He's been Grammy nominated. He's won the ARIA, the Australian Music Awards, Australian Recording Industry Association Award. So he's a good friend of mine. I've been working with Steve for, it's like 2 decades now.
Now, the reason why I mentioned the Sex Pistols is we're actually catching up with Glenn Metcalf, the bass player, over the next few weeks, and we're going to be going down the old Sex Pistols road, plus his new band, his own band as well, you know what I mean? So, we touch on a little bit of history and then move into the future with his own band. So, looking forward to that. Now, Andrew, we opened up the show, of course, Doesn't Matter. Tell me about this. We did this about a year ago, but I think it's time that we refresh our audience's memory. So tell me about Doesn't Matter.
Well, it was kind of, it wasn't about a pandemic. It just, what was going on in the world kind of inspired the song to some degree, I guess, because it was kind of like, there's a lot of people sort of try to hang on to the past, I suppose, the way things used to be, blah-de-blah. And it was kind of about, look, it doesn't matter anymore, man. It's like, it's been and gone now. It's the future already, and just get real. Things aren't how they used to be. And it's kind of like, the message was like, you can't stop evolution. You can try and resist it all you like, but people are evolving and things are changing, some things for the better, some things perhaps not, but that's sort of, there's no point dwelling on the past and wishing we were back in the 50s or whatever people wish we were in, it's the 2020s now, and so just, that was kind of the message. It was kind of just like, hey, it's the future now, embrace it, don't resist it.
I fully agree with you, my friend. I really, really do. Now, I want to know the skinny on this, because I have never seen a woman in the after before. Suddenly, there is one. Tell me about this.
Well, that's Miss Ruby Fraser. She's a phenomenal musical force. I found her last year in the Battle of the Bands, in a fantastic Wellington band that kind of came out of nowhere. And she was just amazing. Like, we gave her the Best Guitarist Award that year. She's just a phenomenal guitar player. It turns out she can play trumpet, drums. She's very, very talented. And it was a very sad set of circumstances, actually, because her band at the time, called Villanelle, it was kind of had two front people. Ruby was singing and playing guitar, and there was another guy, Jono, who was singing and playing guitar, and he was amazing. Like, he had such charisma and a really beautiful voice, and he was an outstanding songwriter as well. Well, the two of them. But it was tragic. He suddenly died about 3 or 4 weeks after the Battle of the Bands. It was shocking because everybody, there's a real vibe for Battle of the Bands in Wellington. It's kind of my favourite place for it at Valhalla. It's a very cool venue. It's my favourite venue, one of, and this band in particular, those two, just blew everybody away. You know, everyone was like, "Wow, this band, these two," and it was tragic. He was like 20-some years old, and he just suddenly died, some sort of seizure or something, and I felt for Ruby because it was like, you know, they were really going to go somewhere. They were actually going to support she said, you know, can we be your opening band for some of your tour dates? And we had them on, like, yeah, well, sure, do you want to do the Wellington one? She goes, oh, we'll do anywhere. And I'm like, wow, I love the attitude. So they were booked to play, like, all our New Zealand shows on the tour, I think, back in November last year. It was right after the Battle of the Bands. So that all didn't eventuate, and then I was setting up the Asia tour, and the previous guy hadn't got his passport in time. Things were quite aligning, and I just messaged her and said, you know, I sent her the tour poster and said, Ruby, just hypothetically, if I was to offer you this, would you be keen? And she's like, fuck yeah. Which, you know, I love enthusiasm, right? That's like, you know, this industry's hard enough as it is. Without, you know, so you've got to have a drive. So it just snowballed. I flew into Auckland a couple of days later, which is typical me, and I'm like, let's go. We had 2 rehearsals, and then we did some New Zealand tour dates, and the after doesn't even rehearse, like hardly ever. We had 2 rehearsals because Ruby was joining the band, so, you know, we kind of had to go through the motions for her sake. But she already learned all the songs. She's just a real natural. And, you know, what she hadn't learned, she was just winging it. We get out on stage, did a bunch of New Zealand tour dates. It was phenomenal. I mean, the lineup is just so strong, and the musicians are just incredible. And then it was like, okay, we'll see you at the airport for the Asia tour. And that was us, you know, we just leapt in. We played in Tokyo the night we landed. We couldn't even check into our accommodation until it was one of those ones, unfortunately, where there was somebody else. It was an Airbnb, and there was someone else staying there, and we couldn't get in until afternoon. But in Tokyo, everything is exact time, you know, like the train leaves at 2:58, and if you're there at 2:59, the doors are closed, and, you know, you should have luck. And the sound check was all like exact schedules. So we're like, shit, we're going to have to go straight to the venue. So we literally turned up to the venue with our suitcases. You know, it's like, okay, we're here. And we played 3 nights in a row, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in Tokyo. And that was it. That was our Japan visit. It was super short. And then we flew to Manila. Wednesday, we played Wednesday, Thursday, 2 shows on Friday. We ended up playing a TV gig. We ended up playing a mall during the afternoon the next day. We played like Wednesday, Thursday, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, Sunday, and then we finally had a day off on Monday. So it was a full-on tour. The schedule was a bit nuts, you know.
You know, I love the people in Japan. I really, really do. Played there a few times myself, especially places like Nagasaki and Tokyo and a number of other places there. You're in KL right now. Believe me, I have an artist that lives right there. Her name is Leonida.
I'm in Manila, Philippines, but I was in KL.
Right, yeah. Okay. Well, I got a lady that lives in KL right now. And believe me, what a fantastic artist this young lady is. In fact, I'm playing one of her songs at the moment off her new album. I think it's handmade for James Bond, to be honest with you. You remember those old Shirley Bassey kind of feels to the music? She's got that going on.
Every Bond DVD right here. I'm a massive Bond fan.
Well, I tell you what.
Yeah, I know the Shirley Bassey stuff.
I tell you what I'll do is I'll get Barbara to pass you on a particular track. I guarantee you will absolutely identify with it. You really, really will. But this lady, literally, I saw her on stage with a friend of mine's concert in India last year, the IMF, International Music Festival, and believe me, it was a fantastic one. This lady, instantly, she kind of gave me the idea of being a Janet Jackson. She was born for the stage, you know what I mean? And she's got that Janet smile with it too, you know, they're one of those little, you know, cheesy little smiles that she gives out every now and again. Just fantastic. I think you'd be very interested in her, but she loves to rock it out as well. And believe me, when you see her in her leather outfit, fantastic, blows everybody away. Fantastic lady, really, really is. So I might get Barbara to introduce you. Having said that, my friend, I want to talk about where there's a will, there's a way. Now, believe me, I'm loving this track. It is getting a huge amount of interest here at Galaxy. People are just begging for it. They're saying, Grant, play the after. So we are playing it. You're featuring in the breakfast show too, by the way, quite often these days. And now I'm loving the video. Now, the video is fantastic. The amount of hours that you put into it to bring it down to 3 minutes, as you were explaining, must have been tough. No wonder it took a number of weeks. You'd be sitting there going, oh, remember that? I remember doing that.
It was, you know, because we just decided to just shoot. I mean, fortunately, our good friend Diego, who we met in Nelson, because Blue, our singer's from Nelson, and we played a show at Liquid Bar in Nelson, I don't know, a year or whatever ago, and Diego was the bar manager at the venue, and he was one of these super cool guys that was just like, anything you need, and he put this projector screen on the wall, and he got all our pictures and graphics, and he saw that we had a bit of a spacey theme, so he had all these planets spinning around, and it was just like, we walked into the venue, we're like, wow, look at this. And it was all him. And it was like pouring shots, and when you set the ones on fire, you know, it was just like the coolest bar manager, just a real, like, positive energy, talented guy. And he got hold of us a few weeks before the Asia tour and said, can I come with you? You know, I'll buy my own flight. I've decided I really want to get into filmmaking. And he's an aircraft engineer. And then he was a bar manager. He was just, you know, a really talented guy, but he wanted to pursue filmmaking. So, of course, we're like, gosh, absolutely. You know, so, you know, we got a bit of extra comm from him, whatever, and organised the flight to be on the same itinerary. And we were so thankful and so lucky that happened, because it enabled us to shoot everything we did. So we shot every gig, and because we knew we were about to release the song and we needed to make a music video anyway, it was like, well, okay, we're going to take this a step further, we're going to shoot the music video. So every time we got a spare little bit of time, it's like, oh, let's go by that building, or let's go by that river. And I couldn't resist the what's it called, Shibuya Junction in Tokyo. So I had this vision of, let's get the guitar solo scene, and let's go right in the middle of that intersection and shoot it there. And we only had a little bit of time in Tokyo, but we were like, we did the sound check at one show, and it's like, okay, we've got 2 hours before we need to be back at the venue. Let's go get that shot. So me, Diego, and Ruby literally jumped in a taxi with the guitar and my bass, and off we went. We had no permits or anything like that. It was just like guerrilla tactics. To say we shot everything, and then we got those shots, which was, you know, they were money shots too. It was like pretty amazing, because it's like the busiest intersection in the world, right? So it was so much fun, and everyone's looking at us like, what the hell's going on here? Yeah.
I get it. Now, Maria, coming out of Palermo, Italy. Now, I've asked you this in the past, but let's just go back down through it, because it's the one question everybody asks me is, Andrew, as a fan, how do we get hold of you? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter? Are you on Instagram? Are you a talker? Do you read it? But more importantly, do you respond?
We do, absolutely. Try and respond to everything. And all of our social media is the After NZ, or NZ, if you like to say Z like that. Mm-hmm. So it's all the same. So the After NZ. and we're on pretty much every platform. We're not on Twitter, actually, probably should be, but we're on everything else. In fact, the stats are finally going through the roof at the moment. We've got 350 yesterday. We're gaining about 20,000 a day right now, so we're probably going to hit 400,000 by the end of today. Views combined of Where There's a Will. And we also did a cover of this Philippine song. We heard the song, we really liked it. We had a driver here, we asked him, what's the lyrics mean, because it was all in Tagalog. So we ended up recording a live acoustic version in one of the apartments, and we released it. And it turns out the song was the #1 song in the Philippines at the time. So it's just going through the roof. So the two videos combined are just clocking up this crazy amount of views, which is lovely.
Was that uha or something like that?
Uhau, yeah, which means thirsty.
Ah, that's what about. You did an acoustic version, is that right?
Yeah, we recorded it all that day. We got our driver Harry to help us translate it. We translated it all to English, and then Blue, the singer, was such a champion. We thought, well, we probably should leave some of it in Tagalog language, because it sort of seemed a little bit too much to just make it all English. So he was a real star, and he learned a whole bunch of it in Tagalog. So it's what they call, when you mix the two languages together, they call it Taglish. So it's like a Taglish version. And we learned it that day. We recorded it in the apartment. That was the closest thing we had to a rehearsal, actually, sitting around with, I bought an acoustic bass for it down the mall that same afternoon. And then we played it at a gig that night, which kind of blew everyone away, because everyone's a bit like, what the hell is this foreign band playing one of our songs for, But it turned out to be a really good thing, because it's really connecting with people.
I did have a look at it, I really, really did. Unfortunately, we couldn't put it in, simply because I'm waiting for the full fat version that I know the After can produce, you know what I mean? Not just
We
the
probably
acoustic.
should.
Yeah, I think you should too, believe me, I was interested. But I want to get the skinny on Where There's a Will, There's a Way. Tell me about this track.
Well, it's kind of, I wrote the start of it, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, and kind of been chipping away at it. It's just, I guess it's like, it's kind of my whole vibe in one song, really. It's like, if you really want something, just go get it, where there's a will, there's a way, right? That's it kind of also, the last 2 or 3 years have been pretty tough for everybody in the world, and, there's been a lot of crazy thoughts and people getting pretty down about things and confused. So it was kind of like it sort of started to morph it a little bit about all of that, really, like the opening lyrics, don't let the weight of the world bring you down, just kind of like, don't give up hope,
Well, I got to be honest with you, and we are currently at 1,892 requests for it. It is blowing through the roof here at Galaxy. It's doing very, very well. Believe me, pat on the back for you. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, officially releasing it for the first time, here is the After, and Where There's a Will, There's a Way at Galaxy. Yeah, you're making an impact with this one, my bro.
It's getting there, yeah. It's a long way to the shop for the sausage roll, and trying to convince all the radio world to come on board, but little by little, and people are relating to it.
They are. They really
I'm
are.
really proud of this song. I feel like it's my best work yet, really.
Well, believe me, I think it is too, just quietly. I really, really do. As I said, I've known you for how many years? This is a work of art. It really is. And
so much.
Andrew, I talk to bands every day. I talk to everybody up and down the scale, from A-listers down to the garage bands, you know what I mean? And I'm not being biased, and I'm not just saying because you're a friend of mine. I think this is a very, very talented song.
Thank you. It was a big production job. I mean, at one point I was up to almost 200 tracks. I mean, an insane amount of guitars. I played lots of guitars on it myself, and then I got Ruby in, and she played we had like 30 takes of the solo to choose from, and then we had some really nice strings that Bruce, our keyboard player, played. But I always sort of envisioned orchestrating this song, and we end up thinking, no, we need real strings. So I went on a hunt to find a really good guitar player, and I found like one of the best ones in New Zealand, Pascal Rodden, who's just amazing. He plays with Albion Wolves, and he plays with lots of people.
Yep, we know
Absolute
Pascal.
virtuoso. I mean, so I got him over. It's like, hey man, you keen to play on this? He was up for it. It was, when you get really good musicians, you almost like can mind read.
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
I hardly ever said, oh, it goes F sharp to D or whatever. It was just, I'm like humming lines. I'm like,
Yep.
I already had that main hook, and it's like, and then it's like, oh, would you like a harmony with that? And like, yeah. And we should talk about this on air because it was pretty cool. And then he goes, okay, to simulate a string quartet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and play it, and then I'm going to go, and we left the mic in the same place, and then it'd like move a meter or two to the side to simulate somebody sitting over there, and he'd played it again, and then he'd move over there, and so we did four tracks of each line in 4 different places.
Hold that thought, bro.
Galaxy.
You know, I could do 30 degrees, no worries. It's what, 23 degrees here. Put another 10 degrees inside here because of the computers and everything. He's only got 30 degrees. Believe me, I can do that hands down. Believe me, it is not a problem. Got to say hi to Sean Adams. Nice to have you back, brother man. Pamela Tozer Harbottle. Now, believe me, loving Steve K. Really am looking forward to meeting him coming out of Nashville. Pamela, you do a wonderful job. Keep it up. Literally. Terry Williams is in there. Bo Gregory's in there. Chris Andreas, hello, brother man, coming out of Canada. Wolfgang de Brett coming out of New Zealand is in there as well. Sammy Dale, Samantha Sheldon Eubanks is in there. Irie Priest, hello, brother man. Been a long time since we've caught up. And loving your work as well. Today we're talking to Andrew Featherstone from the band The After, currently in Manila. Maybe that's why it's a little fuzzy on the screen. I don't know, maybe he's had some fingerprint over the camera lens or something like that, but hey, we're going to work with it anyway. Now, Andrew, let's just reiterate, because you did mention we should be talking about this on air, about our very good friend who just is fantastic with strings. Now, tell me how you got this involved here with the strings.
Okay, well, so the song kind of lended itself to having a bit of orchestration, it kind of like, to the whole production process, I'm kind of like hearing strings and orchestra type stuff. And Bruce Madison, our amazing Hammond organ player, me and him got together and got some keyboards out and started working on some string lines. I already had some in my head going on, so I'm like humming them, and Bruce is sort of helping develop the string parts, and we recorded a bunch of stuff with the keys, but then we kind of thought, no, I kind of like a bit of a purist, right? Everything's kind of done with, real instruments. There's not much digital manipulation going on, and I'm a huge Bond fan. All stunts are done for real, etc., right? So thought we need real strings. So went on a hunt, actually just a Facebook post, anybody know a great violin player? Talked to a whole bunch of different suggestions, and then someone said Pascal Rogan, and I'm like, of course, I've seen him play with Albie and the Wolves. Amazing violinist, just outstanding. So I'm like, yes, Pascal. So I track him down. For playing some strings on this song. It's like, yep. So he came over, and it was incredible. Like, I didn't even have to like talk notes. We just like, he's just hearing it, and then I'm like, I've got this line. It's like, and he's just like straight away, like, and then I'm looking at him, and he's like, we're like almost mind reading. You kind of get that with really good musicians, You kind of like, it's borderline mind reading. It's just it's musical feel thing, I guess.
Yeah.
And he was just like, you want to go there, don't you? I'm like, yes, that's the note. That note there, and we're literally just like bang, smashing it out. And it's the first time in my life I've actually recorded violins. Beautiful instrument, and he was just incredible. He goes, okay, so now we've got these lines. It's like, now I'm going to simulate a string quartet. So I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, I'll leave the microphone there, and then I'm going to record like, we did four tracks of each line, and then he'd move like a couple of feet or a meter or two to the side and record it again to simulate like a quartet sitting next to each other. So it actually, in the audio spectrum, it's in different places, right? But then like, then he started playing like with like different personalities, which I was just like, wow. I was sitting there in awe. Like, he'd be like, this one's smooth, and then the next person over here was a bit more, and then the one over here was a bit more like a girl playing, and I was just like, wow, this is incredible. And so we did 16 tracks of each line, not 16 takes to get the take. Almost every single thing was the first take on the money. Occasionally it was like, oh no, wrong note, hang on, let me do that one again. But he was just smashing them out. So we got like 16 tracks of each line, and then there's some parts of the song where I wanted like 2 or 3 different lines all going on at the same time. So then there was like, 32, there's like 48, and I already had 100 and something tracks, 150 tracks or something from a ridiculous amount of guitars. So at one point the thing got up to 200 tracks, and I'm thinking Steve James is gonna fucking hate me when I send him this. So then it was the big cull, and me and my assistant engineer Alex, we just cut everything down. So there was just a lot of stuff we didn't need. It was sort of overtracked everything. I kind of do that when you've got the musician in the room. It's like, let's grab everything we can and then sort it out later.
Yeah.
So like Ruby guitar solo, I had like 30 different solos to choose from, and we ended up cutting up all that piece there, this one here, and then I got all the string lines. I got Ruby to play all the string lines on guitar. So every string line also has a guitar line. So the string, like the intro at the beginning, it's 16 violins and 8 guitars. And then I gave it, eventually after cutting it all down and putting it all into place, then I sent it all to Steve James, who culled it some more. I'm not sure exactly how many tracks made the final mix, but I tied it all up so it was easier for him. But it was still it was a big job. It was a lot of work. And that's how the strings came about.
That's fantastic. It is. The biggest person I've ever worked with that ever played a guitar was Vanessa May. And she was a fantastic lady to work with, literally, as an engineer. She was very, very comfortable in letting me know exactly what her lineup was and where she's going to be and the whole deal. So believe me, very easy to work with. Got to give a shout out to Franco Nanucci as well. Nice to have you on board, Franco. Cindy Davenport, nice to have you on board as well. We are going to have to wrap it up right now. I just want you to consider one thing. If you really want to get rid of a desk, please look at me. I'll be more than happy to take it off you any day. If you really must get rid of a PA, hello, I'm into that as well, you know. You know, I'm always into gifts and presents like that, I really am. Would love to talk to your videographer because we have a project coming up very, very shortly where Galaxy is looking at moving into Papua New Guinea. We're going to be, we're working with the government there and going to be a national carrier there. You never know, might be able to get a doco out of it. And we're also looking at doing things with India in the very near future as well. Won't let too much out of the bag, but there is a number of countries right now with governments looking at us saying, we need a Galaxy here. So believe me, you never know what the leapfroggy thing throughout the world is going to happen over the next number of years.
Awesome, man.
We're
Great, congratulations.
climbing up the ranks, to be very honest with you. It's fantastic. It's a wonderful ride. So please, I would love to be able to talk to your camera guy and just see what we can work out there because there's some very, very big things coming. It might be a fantastic documentary or maybe the worst documentary ever made. I'm sure like Peter Jackson can understand that as well.
Where there's a will, there's a way, man.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Don't go anywhere just yet, my bro. We're going to take a couple of pickies and stuff like that and send you all the videos and everything. We've done this before, and believe me, I don't know whether we've made you a cartoon before, but probably going to do it now. So be prepared for that as well. And
Okay.
my argument is, you know, it's the beauty and the beast here between me and Barbara. And really, did you ever realise that maybe beauty was the beast? Think about that. You're right.
That's deep.
That is deep. It really is. In the meantime, thank you for joining us here at Galaxy. Don't go anywhere because very, very shortly we're heading over to North Carolina. We're going to be catching up with Z and her hubby. Yeah, believe me, looking forward to meeting Chasing Phoenix very soon. See you then.
Galaxy.